Hi guys, this is Hope with Flower Moxie, and today we're going to build a hand-built bouquet, and it's going to be in more of an organic style. I'm not going to make this bouquet super large, so you can definitely make it bigger than the one that I'm going to make, but this one will be a very standard size bouquet, and this is following our Pinks and Berries collection. So first we're going to start with a greenery, and we are going to just kind of build a base structure. And this helps you get kind of a structure and stability in your hands whenever you get started. So I like to strip down my greenery a little bit so it's not too much sticking in all different directions. And once you get those pieces kind of stripped down where you've got a good stem on them, you can start building. I'm not going to put a ton of greenery in this one, but if you like more greenery, then you can definitely have a larger base of that and less blooms. So starting with your first pieces, I like to cross them over each other. And you want to hold your fingers in, think of this as like your vase. So just hold your pointer finger and your thumb together and try your hardest to only use those fingers. In the beginning, you may have to use some other fingers as stability, but eventually you want to only be using those. So as you go, you're going to start creating that elongated shape. And you'll see that some of those pieces need a little more stability from my hand right now. And once it gets more full, then I won't need to use those other fingers. So I'm gonna mix in my other type of greenery. And I'm putting these bigger pieces out to the side so that they branch out a little further. You don't want to forget to fill in the back side of your bouquet. It's okay if you want to make your bouquet more one-sided, so it's more flat on the back and you can lay it down. I like to build mine all the way around, but it's totally up to your preference. But you do want some flowers back there. You don't want it to feel empty. So we've got a good structure of greenery right now. And if you feel like your stems are too long or throwing anything off balance, you can always trim those as well. And then I'm going to get started with kind of my volume flowers, the larger ones that I have here, and then I'm going to shift my way over into the smaller ones. So I often like to start with my roses. They're kind of a foundational piece. And again, we're keeping kind of the structure and shape in mind. You don't necessarily want things to feel extremely symmetrical. Having some variation in your height and textures of flowers will give your bouquet more visual interest. I also like to do groupings of threes or just odd numbers that helps things not feel like it's just a mirror image on the other side. And it's good to place them down deeper in the middle. Not everything has to be sprawling out. That gives it some depth as well. And one thing to remember when you're first getting started is it's gonna feel weird. Right now it doesn't look great, and that's okay. Don't get discouraged whenever you first start. Just keep adding to it, move things around if you need to. I'm still trying to keep my hand really loose so that I can drive my stems through very easily. And you'll notice there I was kind of spinning my stem to get it in, and you're gonna have to do that as you add more product. Just the stems start to get intertwined, and gives it a little easier time getting through there. Especially with these more fragile stems, you want to be gentle with them as you put them through. It's also good to strip off the greenery just so you have a really clean stem to drive through and nothing else is getting snagged. I also want to avoid making just defined lines in my arrangement. Oftentimes in photos that doesn't look the best. So whenever I do something like that, then a lot of times I'll just shift it a little bit so that it doesn't feel like a straight line. Now I'm filling back in with my accent flowers. So I'm kind of filling gaps here, and I really want these ones accentuated. They're like my fancier, nicer flowers. So these ones I often have more raised up and kind of showcase them in the bouquet. It's good to look in a mirror as well while you're building, just so that you can see what it looks like from another perspective. Often this feels a bit too close and you can't see all the dimension and texture that's going on, so you may have to look in a mirror and shift things around as well. And the flowers are going to shift while you're adding other product. As you put those stems in, the other stems are going to shift. So if that happens, just keep readjusting and realigning it to where you want it to go. Another thing I look out for whenever I'm adding these accent flowers is making sure it doesn't kind of look like eyeballs looking at you. So having like two of them on the same plane can feel that way sometimes. So if you just want to move it to a different level, move it to a different height, or even just shift the placement, then that is always a good thing to keep in mind as well. You probably can't see, but these scabiosa do have straws on them, and that just gives it extra support. They're not very noticeable, and if they're mostly hidden in my bouquet, I don't take them off, or if they have really sturdy stems. Sometimes they're thicker than others. Even if you want to pull it down where it can't be seen, you can pull it down just a bit, and then it'll have the more natural stem up above. Often at this point in the process, I have a little trouble getting some of my stems in, and especially with these more delicate ones, you just want to be gentle with them so you don't break them off. Especially like ranunculus have kind of a shorter stem oftentimes, so it's important to make sure you don't lose any of that length. Now I'm just going to add in a few little pops of pink, and we're going to be good. Need some longer stems. Pull out to the side over here. I also like to look where my stem is coming through with these more delicate ones and find that and kind of adjust the height from the bottom. That often helps me just be a little more gentle with the bloom. And now that I've gotten everything mostly where I want it to, I'm just going to be making tweaks to it. So shifting flowers around to make sure they're not too smushed together, making sure that they're at the levels and heights that I want, and just making sure that things aren't clumped together in a way that I don't like. So look in the mirror with this, adjust things as you need to, and then you're good to go. So now to secure my bouquet, I'm going to use a zip tie. You can also use floral tape, anything like that that you prefer. These are just really secure and easy to use, and it's easy to do one-handed without anyone else's help. So just feed it through your hand, bring it around the front, and you can pull it pretty tight. You also want to make sure that you're not breaking off your stems. So just get it tight enough that things aren't going to move around. And then you can snip that off, as well as snip your stems. And I like to cut my stems pretty short. This is just something I like to do as I feel it helps hold the bouquet a bit nicer. But some people prefer long-stemmed bouquets, and that is totally fine. Just keep them the length that you like. So when they're like this, then you can hold it easily against your body and it doesn't hinder you from bringing it close. Whereas another longer stemmed bouquet, you may have to hold just more straight up and down. I like to tilt mine forward a bit. And now we're gonna put the ribbon on. So you'll just want to cut whatever length of ribbon you like. You can lay it down on the table gently and feed the ribbon through, tie it around. I like to go through a few times. I think I'm going to start this one on the front since it's a bit shorter. And then you can tie a knot or a bow, whatever your preference is. And then you just want to cut off the edges of those so they don't fray. And a lot of times I'll keep my ribbon a bit longer so it can drape down a bit. And that is all there is to it. This will take you a longer amount of time probably as you get started, and then you'll get faster and faster as you go. But before getting your wedding flowers, just so it doesn't feel so intimidating, I do recommend getting grocery store flowers. Doesn't matter if it matches your color palette, just get some grocery store flowers in these different textures and try that out. Just get your hands on them, get adjusted to your arranging, and that'll make it feel so much easier the week of. So that is it for today. Thank you guys.